Hi everybody, how are you guys doing today? It is Monday, July 17th, 2017. Um, so what I wanted to talk about is not so much a metaphysical topic today or a spiritual topic, it's kind of a matter-of-fact topic. Um, I think like the two main things that people want to address when they come to me are money and love, right? So when I'm mentoring or coaching a client, those are the two big things. And ironically, when you're looking for love, what do we end up working on? Self-love. But there's a pattern that I see a lot, not just in like those I work with, but also in I think in society in general, is this idea that like it all kind of stems down to this feeling of, I want this great person to be in my life. And am I good enough for them? Right? Like we never actually turn it around and go, are they good enough for me? And not that we even want to have that measuring stick, because that can cause problems just in and of itself. But like when it comes to dating, for example, right? How often, ladies, do you get so dolled up and you think, oh God, I hope he thinks I'm pretty enough, or I hope that my boobs are big enough. I hope that like he thinks I look good in this dress. And we never really stop to just take our power back and go, what is it that I'm looking for in an individual? And when I meet this person or I go out with this person, to have the ability to look at them in such a way where we're actually going, do I like their communication style? Are they reactive to my voice? I knew a guy who was so attracted to me, but squealed every time. I'm an Aries, I'm loud. And every time I'd get loud, he'd wince. But he wanted so badly to date me. And I remember thinking, why? It's never going to go anywhere. If you can't handle my high-pitched voice, when I get excited, then clearly this is a dead end. Because that's a part of me. And I'm not going to change a fundamental part of me to make you comfortable. But so often we go into this realm of trying to find a partner, and we skew it towards, do I meet their qualifications? Which is a fabulous way to give away your power. When you turn that around and you're like, this is what I need, and you make a very fine-tuned list of the qualities that you need, and I'm talking like deal breakers. We could get really like detail oriented, and sometimes that helps and sometimes that's a hindrance. But what I tell clients is like, go for your deal breakers. Like, cannot do smoking ever, not willing to accept it in my life. Years ago, I did date for a few months a guy with kids, and I realized really quickly, like, this isn't for me. Everyone kept trying to convince me that like I was being too hard on men with kids. And I was like, look, I know myself. I need to be his number one. Like if I have a child with a man, okay, I'd be more than happy to let him give that child attention because it's our child. But I'm not going to take a back seat to some other woman's children. And if that makes me selfish, then so be it. But that's just who I am. That's where I'm at. And I kind of need to honor what I know is going to work for me. Otherwise, I'm totally setting myself up for failure. But so often we go into the dating world, and again, we're so concerned about whether or not we measure up that we don't even begin to question whether or not the shoe actually fits. And like, I don't know why this consciousness is so rampant, because it's not healthy. I suggest to people to go to date, like not to find the one, but to figure out what works. Like if you don't even know what qualities work for you, then how are you going to find that person? Like, know your deal breakers. If you suck at something, then don't try to go into it with the mentality of like, I'm going to get it right the first time. Go into it with the mentality of, I'm going to figure out what works for me. It's the same in business. Like, you could try 100 different marketing, whatever, apparatuses, and, most of them will fail for you. And that's fine. You take that time to figure out what does work for you, and when it comes to dating or finding love, you really always got to turn it back and go, do I like who I am when I'm with this person? Am I honoring myself when I'm with this person? Can I be myself when I'm with this person? Because if you have to make concessions that don't work for you, and I'm not talking about like, maybe you have different schedules, or maybe, like little things. It's really easy to take something small and turn it into something big. And that's usually an issue of like intimacy or commitment. We take a small issue and we're like, oh my God, he leaves his underwear on the floor. Okay, is that really the problem? And I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about worthiness. I'm talking about being good enough. I'm talking about honoring yourself. I'm talking about like knowing your deal breakers and knowing like, hey, you know what? I like Mercedes. That's the only car I like. That's what I want to drive. And if you know that, then when a Mercedes comes by, you're going to be like, oh, that's the kind of car that I want to have and drive. I'm going to save up for that, okay? You're not going to test drive a Ford or an Audi or a Hyundai. You're going to wait for the Mercedes to be available, okay? But these are the things that like we need to, when we're looking for a partner, right? We go and we test it, and we, do I like someone who, is obsessed with sports? Do I like someone who does yoga? Do I need someone who does yoga? I'm a yogi. I actually always thought I needed a yoga practitioner to be a partner. And actually, the most recent person in my life, I don't think I could pay him to get on a yoga mat. It's just not his thing. But, what I realize is that the other qualities are so much more close to home, and that the guys who did do yoga didn't meet my emotional standards at all, right? So I don't make that a requirement anymore. Good communication is a requirement now. Someone who doesn't just study philosophy. Like, I don't care if you study philosophy. I want you to have principles, period, right? So being able to differentiate those things is really important, and then applying them and like holding to the line. Like, go on a date, and if they're acting in a certain way that like you just know down the line that's going to be a problem, don't be afraid to be like, hey, this doesn't work for me. Don't feel the need to sell yourself out for company, okay? Because that's actually not going to fix the problem. It's a Band-Aid, and it doesn't do anything. So, I definitely see this more with women than men, but I can't say that I don't see it with both, right? But learning how to honor yourself, know your boundaries, know your standards, know your deal breakers, and be willing to act in accordance to you as opposed to how to please them. That's all for today, guys. I hope that was helpful. If you have questions or comments, feel free to message me, and I'll be around. Have a good one. Bye.